Nothing hurts my mom. That she showed anyway. She'd always say, you do what you need to do to take care of yourself. But she thought that meant she had to do it on her own. We were trained to help others. But there's strength in finding help for yourself, too. We're in this together. Even the toughest of us might not know where to go to get a little support.
Encourage women who have served to learn more about the VA care and benefits they've earned. The VA Women Veterans Call Center connects veterans with personalized information on VA services that can make a difference. Call 1-855-VA-WOMEN or visit www.womenshealth.va.gov.
Hello, my name is Travis, and welcome again to Oscar Mike Radio. Oscar Mike Radio is part of the Hoobazoo Network. You can find out more on hoobazoo.com. I want to start by thanking all my sponsors, Joyce Asack of Asack Real Estate and Reaper Detailing and Power Washing. Thank you very much for your support. And speaking of supporters, I have Super Savage Salad Dressing, Bottom Gun Coffee, and Caisson Shaving Company. Check out the show links and watch the show for discount codes on their products, and thank you again. This is one of my favorite times of year where I get to watch primarily men jump through hoops to affirm their love for their special someone. They'll go to great lengths to make sure they have the right kind of chocolate, the special card, maybe some flowers and a spa treatment. Everything's all set. Military guys are sending their wives and girlfriends love letters and trying to get leave to make sure they celebrate that special day, excuse me. But not me. No. Because I don't believe in love. I don't. And this is a point of consternation and debate with some of my friends, close friends, and some of my relatives, but I just don't believe it. And all I do on this weekday is offer a story that, while very sad, and no one is a winner here, is 100% true. And you tell me if love is real. Okay. So, again, the story is 100% true. It was taken from the Daily Beast and written by Justin Rohrlich. If I got that wrong, I'm sorry. I have the link to the story in the Oscar Mike Radio show post. You can check out the entire story there. And here we go. Valentine's Day, the Hot Mess Express. So this is an Air Force story. Usually these I've done have been primarily Navy. The first one I did was Navy, some Marine Corps ones in the Army, but this one is Air Force. And as a bonus, this one is a female service member who made some questionable choices. Understandably so, but made some questionable choices. Anyway, here's the stage. 29-year-old Katelyn Lucille Day, who was an airman first class, it's an E3 at age 29, which would suggest, you know, as an E3, you're going to make E3 in the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force within your first 12 to 18 months of service, 2 years tops. So it's highly likely she joined the Air Force when she was 27, max. Maybe 26. So an older service member, not 17, not 18, not 21 even, but north of 25. And she is been sentenced to 10 years for the attempted murder of her husband, a Mr. Tyler Day, who's 28. And I have the link to the Air Force's, statement document about, the story of this, the position, and the sentence. So the Daily Beast story goes to say that the couple met in the spring of 2017 at an outpatient treatment program in Shreveport, Louisiana. Now, where this happened is a place I'm very familiar with. I've been to Barksdale Air Force several times as a civilian, as a kid, for the air show and other things. Great place if you love aircraft. And the 8th Strategic Air Command is out of there. As I recall, they have B-52s and A-10s, and the refuelers out of Barksdale. Barksdale's in Bossier City, and I was in Shreveport. So they met at an outpatient treatment program. I don't know if that means like a recovery program, but some kind of program. And then they were married in July. And after they were married, Katelyn does the responsible thing. She adds Tyler as a dependent. And yes, it happens. Female service members get married to men or women now, and they will take out a life insurance policy. It's the right thing to do. And then after that's done and the wheels come off, but not in like 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. Let's try 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, she discovers that Tyler is having an affair, and his affair partner is pregnant. And just as a bonus, she was also pregnant with his child during all of this. So I'm not going to get to the front of the story real, right now, but you're a guy screwing around on your fiance, and you essentially have both of them pregnant at the same time. Wow. That's a special kind of low right there. It really is. You, Tyler, are, again, a special kind of low. I don't know you, never met you. What happened to you was not right. I'm not going to say what happened to you was right, or what was going to happen to you was right. But on the other hand, you're a special kind of low. And Katelyn finds out. Katelyn's crushed. That feeling of betrayal. And I've seen it. Look, say what you will, but when I was in Yuma, every now and then we'd have a E5, E4, or sometimes even a staff NCO on a Monday or Tuesday night with a sea bag coming to the barracks, seeing the duty NCO to get a bed to sleep in while they're trying to figure this out. And generally, that Marine's entire demeanor changes. Sometimes they turn to alcohol and self-medicate. Sometimes they turn to PT, but they are changed people. It changes you. Adultery and infidelity are not victimless crimes by any stretch of the imagination. So Katelyn knows what's going on now. It's pretty evident. There's no way to hide this. And she's feeling betrayed. She's feeling used. She's feeling all the things a person goes through when they're going through this. And for whatever reason, Katelyn and JM, that was the other woman or the affair partner, whatever you want to call it, linked up and began to communicate over Facebook Messenger. And the group's name was the Hot Mess Express. And they were coming together to talk about their problems with Tyler. And it seems kind of odd to me. I don't know if this happens a lot, but it happened then. And, during that time, the story goes on that Katelyn vocalized her desire to kill Tyler. Not only for what he did to her and the mess that she was in now, but also money was tight. I think in E3, back when I was in E3, it was like, $1,400 a month. I think it's now a generous $2,100 a month. And if you're not on base housing, it is pretty brutal to try to survive anywhere with one income on about $24,000 a year before taxes. It's not a recipe for success. And Katelyn goes on to vocalize this. And not only does she, say this to JM, she also goes to other people to get help to off her then husband. She wanted him gone. There was trouble with getting money. She did not want Tyler to get custody of her child if she were deployed somewhere, or if they got divorced because she was in the Air Force. And that happens, by the way. A couple splits up, and if that, a lot of times it's the wife, they split and she goes back to home, and that home is 1,000 miles away. That military service member might get to see his child once, maybe twice a year, and meanwhile they're paying child support the entire time. So she was upset, and she tried to find different avenues of help. It's all in the article, right? And so somebody said something to someone, because all of a sudden the Air Force Office of Special Investigations, I guess that's like, NCIS for the Navy, or the Marine Corps, started investigating this. And they started building a case. And unbeknownst to Katelyn, they had gotten to JM because, on the Facebook Messenger, there's several entries where she very clearly lays out that she wants to kill her husband. Now, again, I have no love, respect, or admiration for Tyler at all. Never will. However, I'm very clear about this. When you're in this state, you may want to kill that person. It's honestly a normal reaction. But setting up and executing it and playing it are wrong things. And I don't care if you're a civilian, I don't care if you're military, there are other ways to deal with this. We'll get back to that in a second. And so what happens is the Air Force found out from JM that Katelyn, was wanting to use fentanyl to spike his energy drinks and post-workout drinks with his fentanyl and kill him. So the Air Force got with JM. They gave JM a baggie of white stuff. I don't know what was in it. It doesn't really say. And JM gave it to Katelyn with the knowledge that she was going to use it to kill her husband. After that happened, the Air Force got a warrant. They searched Katelyn's house. They found the bag. They, had a lot of discovery actions already taken. They had her dead to rights. There was no denying it. She was found guilty. She was discharged the lowest rank from the Air Force, which is an E1, and she is in jail right now, waiting the hearing on her appeal. And so, and like a lot of these Jody stories I've done, I call them Jody stories. These are sad stories, in different ways. Like the first one I did was this naval submariner and his, ex-wife got divorced. His ex-wife had substance abuse problems, convinced the judge that, he was blocking access to his child when he had custody. He's on a submarine in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and the judge overseeing the case was like, well, he's not here. When he gets to Seattle, we're going to have him arrested for contempt of court, thrown in jail. And the sad thing was that the child needed her father to step in and do this. He was working on that while he was serving his country. But also, there was a federal statute that excluded him from this kind of treatment by the court, and the judge completely disregarded it. So my point is, these stories are on the face sad. These are not happy stories. I'm not happy about this at all. While I might poke fun at the idea of a commercialized day where we're supposed to validate unquantifiable feelings, I mean, this really happened. At one point, Katelyn thought she loved this guy and that this guy loved her, and found out that that was not the case. Where the problem is how she dealt with it. And so I tell these stories to make people understand that there's sometimes where, a service member has a PTSD event. It's not because of combat or anything else. It's stuff like this, and it has an effect on people. Civilian or military, by the way, but, it's felt more in the military, because if you get divorced and you have children, you might not see your kid for years. And then when you get out, you've got to go through the entire process again in probate court to see your child, when you don't have a lot of money or experience in navigating that, pathway. And, I'll end with this. I always wonder in these kind of stories, did anyone in her unit know that she was experiencing this? And the reason I ask is, I didn't know everybody's business in my platoon, in my battery, but you had a pretty good idea who was tracking good and who was having a bad time, whether through poor financial decisions, homesickness, alcohol problems. Like, you knew who was having problems and who wasn't. You also knew who was messing around their spouse and who wasn't. You just knew. And sometimes you had to have a talk with that person to understand what's going on in case a small problem became a bigger problem. And I always wondered, did anybody in her unit know? And if they knew, was anything done to try to help Katelyn out? I'm not blaming the Air Force. If she never asked for help, they couldn't give it, right? And make no mistake, if she had said, hey, I'm having this hard time dealing with this, I'm not feeling right, I'm feeling alone, scared, and frustrated, and I'm hurt and betrayed, there are programs in place to make sure that service member gets seen by somebody, or there's family resources available. And I wish she had taken that path and rebuilt her life and moved on from this instead of taking this way. All kidding aside about Valentine's Day and love and all that stuff, I mean, no one wins here. There's no winner here, especially the child of Katelyn, who's probably going to miss out on the majority of life with, that mother. And, that child's going to be with a father who, for all intents and purposes, just was irresponsible from the outset at best, and blatantly dishonest and evil at worst. And the other thing, this is all true. This is not me making this up. This is not me opining on something that didn't happen or may have happened. It's all true. You can read the Air Force's statement. It's 16 pages long, a lot of legalese, but it lays it all out. Just a series of poor choices and unfortunate events that lead to this terrible thing. So again, every now and then I find these stories. I'll add this to the Jody series, and you can tell me what you think, but it's all true, and it's all sad, and no one wins. I'm Travis, the host of Oscar Mike Radio. Thank you for listening and watching, and we are Mission in Flight. I want to thank you for joining me and watching Oscar Mike Radio. Now go to OscarMikeRadio.com and click Shop to check out all the cool merchandise from Authentically American. All proceeds go to veteran service organizations. We are Mission in Flight.